And David Taylor takes a closer look at the day in business and finance with some impressive jobs numbers out today.
You can say that again. Tens of thousands of jobs were created, which is always good. Full-time and part-time jobs, so that's a good mix there. The problem, of course, though, Charlotte, is that underemployment, as far as the Bureau of Statistics is concerned, is still trend-speaking at record highs. The key to getting the economy moving is to get more and more full-time jobs being created and less people being underemployed. It's a hard task to do, but policymakers should be up to it.
And Myer's profit tumbled today, but the share price climbed higher.
It did, and largely based on expectations. So Myer produced a profit of $67 million. The market was actually expecting $64 million. So the market had woeful expectations, and the actual result was a little better than woeful. So the market price of Myer went up. But of course, Myer is suffering from less foot traffic through its stores. In fact, it's closing a couple of stores around the country, closing one store in Hornsby in Sydney, and I suspect it'll continue to close stores and boost efficiencies. Of course, it's also got the threat of Amazon coming to Australian shores later this year. So not the greatest result for Myer, but it's hanging in there.
David Taylor, thank you.
Here's reporter David Taylor with the day's business news.
This sort of jobs picture is pretty good. We've got an unemployment rate that's hanging around 5.6, 5.5%. It's been doing that for quite some time. And over the year, and the politicians said this morning and this afternoon, by the way, that we've actually got an increase, a gradual increase in full-time jobs being created. That's the great news. That's wonderful news. And 54,000 jobs, full-time jobs, is employment creation, nothing to sneeze at.
OK, let's talk corporate news now. An 80% profit slump for Myer. Can you take us through the breakdown?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the profit itself is an interesting one because you've got, like you say, an 80% profit fall, but the share price actually went up, and that's because the market had such a dismal view on what the actual result was going to be. So the earnings, if you like, was 67 million. The market was expecting 64. Share price went up. The problem with Myer at the moment is that it's suffering from this overall slump in foot traffic through department stores.
OK, well, let's have a look at the greater markets now. How did they trade today?
Not too bad. I mean, the market didn't suffer any great losses or get any big gains for that matter. We did have the miners fall at the start of trade, which got things off to a bad start, but the banks were a counterbalance to that. The banks actually did quite well, even Stevens at the end of the day, and my share price, it did go up, but it didn't influence things too much.
Now time to check in with David Taylor for a closer look at the day in business and finance. David, Australia is now in its 27th year of economic growth.
It is, Charlotte. Well, I've got a smile on my face. We did 26 years of uninterrupted economic growth. The last recession we had, of course, was in 1991, a long time ago since then. So what's done it really? Well, it's fairly straightforward. We had 0.8 percentage points of growth in the second quarter. It beats the 0.3 in the first quarter, and that's pushed the annual growth rate up to 1.8%. So what we've got here is the GDP, is economic growth, and it affects your wages and unemployment and things like that. But what's driven the economy, of course, is government spending and mining investment, exports, iron ore, of iron ore and things like that. But what happened in the second quarter, which maybe came as a little bit of a surprise, of course, is that consumption picked up a little bit. So the important thing is, moving to the end of this year and early next year, is that we need the consumer to keep spending despite more underemployment, despite higher energy bills. The consumer needs to keep spending, and of course we need to get business investment, non-mining business investment, to keep spending, to keep pumping into the economy as well. If that happens, well, we can expect higher wages and lower unemployment, but they're two very big ifs, Charlotte.
Now, how's the Australian dollar reacted to today's economic news?
Well, I don't want to draw too much of a big conclusion here, but the dollar went down originally, perhaps on the analysis I've just given, but not on my analysis, of course, but on that explanation. But then the dollar rallied a little bit, and maybe that's telling us that people are a little unsure of where the economy is going. It's good so far, and everyone agrees with that, but there's a big question mark over what happens at the end of this year. So maybe traders were saying, hang on, I'm not going to do anything just yet.
David Taylor, thank you very much.